Today we're gonna once again talk about frugality, living below your means, and also billionaires who are actually doing that. But there's gonna be more after the intro, as always. As every day, as every day. And I hope this episode's not gonna be too long, because I found a few good and interesting things, quite unfortunately, kinda. But yeah, with that being said, hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. And I'm really looking forward to recording this episode. But before we even gonna go through the whole episode, there's three things I want to talk about. The first thing is the podcast. If you're listening or willing to listen to the podcast, please go down into the description and the first link is gonna be to the podcast. If you want to have some notes, and you're gonna see that I'm having some highlights on these articles that we are then gonna talk about and then gonna view and have a look at. And these notes or these highlights, they're gonna be down into a note file. And this note file, which is just a PDF, is gonna be uploaded to Google Drive links, and you can also download that, so you do not even have to go through the whole episode. You can also just view the notes, and then that's quite it. I'm just gonna talk about the exact same things, basically. Of course, I'm gonna add some things, but you can also add some music. If you're willing to have some background music, please head also down into the description and or in the show notes if you're in a podcast, and turn on the background music. There's I think 5 or 6 different types of them, so please check them out and try them out if you're willing to. But yeah, as you can see on the left side of the screen, and it's a little tiny too big, so let's make it smaller. We're having an article from the CNBCMakeIt.com site, and it is all about Mark Zuckerberg and him buying some TVs at Costco. And I do have to say, he seems to be quite frugal, just his lifestyle in terms of, the clothes that he's wearing. So he's not really a fancy guy, kinda. Of course, he's probably having quite a big house, and there's always going to be some things that they're spending their money on. Whether it is vacations, whether it is something else, they're just doing something like that. Most often it's not going to be like cars or just fancy clothes or some things like that. It's most often going to be just something else, something like vacations, as I said, and all those things. But let's see, Zuckerberg, who is currently worth 77.6 billion according to Forbes, is not always frugal. For example, in 2015, he paid 100 million for a 700-acre property on Kauai, Hawaii. And there you can see him because he was spotted on Friday, actually, so yesterday. He was spotted in Costco, and he had a look at TVs. I don't actually know if he needs TVs though. He's probably having some TVs, but maybe he's just, looking at prices and just having a look at them. I don't fucking know what he's doing there, to be honest. Zuckerberg isn't the only celebrity known to appreciate Costco. Kris Jenner, mom to celebrity icons including Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner, told the New York Times in 2015 that going to Costco is soothing and fun. And Costco is a passion, Jenner told the Times. Costco is like a massage. Not quite sure about that either. Let's let it be what it is. But it's going back to Zuckerberg and Jen, his wife, because they told CBS, Gayle King in December, they keep their kids, Maxima, or aka Max, which is 4, or who is 4, and August, which I'm actually not quite sure about if it is actually the name, but he or she is 2 years old, grounded in several ways. First of all, we don't give them everything, Zuckerberg said. So I think that that's an important piece. They also take their kids to the office to see sort of what we do, how we contribute, Jen said. And the kids have chores. In May, Zuckerberg shared on Facebook a video of his daughter loading the dishwasher. The caption read, "Parenting milestone unlocked." And it is actually quite sweet. I gotta have to show you. There it is. I think it indeed is quite sweet. It's a little bit laggy there. I'm sorry about that. It's not. Oh, I'm sorry. Pretty sweet. And as you can see, if we're just having a look at kind of the house there, it's not that big, or it doesn't seem to be that big. Just normal, I would say. And this is it with the article, actually. So it's been all about his frugality and how Zuckerberg is actually pretty frugal, even though he's worth quite a lot. Even though I do not really assume that he's having a lot of money in his bank, though. I think the majority is just Facebook stocks and not really kind of money itself. But still, he's pretty fucking wealthy. And I found a few other articles which are completely all about frugality as well, because I think it is just a really, really interesting thing, and also a really important one. Even though I gotta have to say that I think I have, or I haven't. I for sure have. I've highlighted some things there as well, but, I just remember them anyway. I think the first one was Ed Sheeran, because he was pretty interesting. Ed Sheeran is one of these rare real rags riches stories that everyone dreams of living out. He's now a multi-billionaire and worldwide phenomenon. He can basically have whatever he wants, but he exactly gives himself $1,200 per month to mess around with. The problem that I'm now having is, what does mess around with mean? Is it about just throwing it away, just trying something new out with 1.2k? Which is quite something then. It's probably not going to be quite a lot for him, but it's going to be quite something for people like me, of course. I'm not really rich. I'm not, but I'm frugal as fuck. Like I really am. Sometimes it's insane. Sometimes it's really insane. But I'm kind of living that, some sort of, I like that, I like just having a look at the prices and choosing and evaluating what is the best choice, what I should be buying. Sometimes it's a chore as well, of course, sometimes it's really fucked up and unnecessary and just pissing me off as well. But most often it is something that I actually quite enjoy, some kinda. I don't know why actually, but it's just what I do. On the other hand, it could also be the case that he's just living on 1.2k, which I'm not that sure about, Well, if he's having a home and whatnot, and if he's just alone and whatnot, then it could actually work out quite well, just living alone on 1.2k. If everything is already just bought or rented and whatnot, then yeah, it would work. Then Warren Buffett, of course, but we're gonna talk about Warren Buffett afterwards. Even though, he also drives a modest car, and Buffett earns a salary of $100,000 per year. And he hasn't taken a raise in a quarter century, which is quite something, which is really something. But I do really have to say, $100,000 is probably enough. Whether you're old, whether you're young, it's probably enough. I would say so at least. Mark Zuckerberg, we've already been talking about him. Then Keira Knightley. She's also pretty interesting. Keira Knightley is a world-famous actress, but she lives more or less like the rest of us. She has a net worth or net value of roughly 50 million, but in order to keep herself in check, she only lives off of $50,000 per year, which is not that much, which is really not that much. But still it works. At least it seems to be the case. And then we're having Kristen Bell, and he's really cheap. She's really cheap with a $45 dress and just all these things. It's not that interesting. Neither is it important. But there is another one, another Business Insider article. And all the articles are going to be down in the description, and they're also going to be down in the PDF if you're just downloading the PDF. So everything should be there. It's probably going to be the best thing to just download the PDF. So you're just having the PDF and you kind of just have it laying around, and if you need it, you can have a look at it and whatnot, and you're having the links. So basically having everything that you are in need of, that you might be in need of as well. So let's see. Let's start there. Billionaire Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg was spotted on shopping. Oh, that's not that interesting. Frugality is one of the key characteristics of wealth, according to researcher who studied more than 600 millionaires. And those who commit to spending less and sticking to a budget are more likely to become millionaires, she said. Many of the richest people in the world, including Warren Buffett and Richard Branson, have surprisingly frugal habits. And they really have. They really have. Aside from having high net worth, they are frugal, which is something that a lot of billionaires and also millionaires seem to be. And I do have to say, most often you can see non-frugality as people that are really just spending their money on just everything and every dumb shit and whatnot. You're most often seeing that in either celebrities, rappers, or YouTubers. I would say, kinda. Because of course they all make a lot of money and they're all just having enough money and also a lot of money. And it is sometimes I'm then feeling well, shouldn't you just be spending your money on something that kinda just makes more sense, even though it is not really something that I should be judging, because I am not them and they are not me, and I don't know what they're valuing, and I'm having maybe some different values than they're having. And of course, it is just gonna be something completely different if you are capable of doing something like that than if you're just not able to do something like that. It's something completely different, something just absurdly different, So I shouldn't judge, and nobody should actually. It's this characteristic that helped them become rich in the first place, according to Sarah Stanley Follow, director of research for the Affluent Market Institute, and she co-authored The Next Millionaire Next Door. Okay, enduring strategies for building wealth, in which she surveyed more than 600 millionaires in America to identify characteristics that are the most predictive of net worth. Stanley Fellow conducted 2 studies that included a group of individuals with net worths ranging from 100,000 to a million, and a group of high and ultra-high net worth individuals. She found that 6 behaviors, which she called wealth factors, are related to net worth potential. And one of them is frugality. And I think it definitely makes sense. Being frugal, which leads you to having just more money. The problem there is, if you're just earning a lot of money and you're spending a lot of money, you're not having a lot of money. Basically, you're not rich. If you're spending 120k on 100k, you're not rich any longer, because you're not having just more than you actually need. Kinda. Of course, you're having a lot of money and of course, you're rich, but not really. Both sides, not really. It's interesting, it's an interesting concept, and it is also something particularly interesting to also talk about. Now everything's broken. I don't know why. I hope it's working afterwards quite fine. Richard Branson has previously said that displays of wealth embarrass him, which is also something pretty interesting, like if you're thinking about it. And here's the book cover, The Next Millionaire Next Door. And I think I have been going through The Millionaire Next Door, but I'm not quite sure about that though. I really am not. Because it is actually kind of the second Millionaire Next Door, because it's the next Millionaire Next Door. And because the original version was published in 1976, if I remember correctly what they have been just talking about. But yeah, it's actually a pretty interesting book, and there's a lot of summaries out there, so you're probably just also going to check out some summaries on that. It's just worth it, I guess. But the next article is also going to be about the book explicitly, or whatever it's called. I don't know. I don't care. She found that 6 behaviors which she calls wealth factors are related to net worth potential regardless of age and income. Which is actually a pretty great promise, I would say. Spending above your means, which means spending instead of saving for retirement, spending in anticipation of becoming wealthy makes you a slave to the paycheck, even with a stellar level of income, she wrote. And I gotta have to say, yeah, it is the truth. And one of them is definitely Warren Buffett, because he's not really spending anything on anything. And he's still living, which is totally something that everyone knows by now, but he's still living in his modest Omaha, Nebraska home, which he bought for $31,000 in 1958. And, I gotta have to be honest, it's not a bad home. It's pretty nice, it's pretty big, it's pretty fancy, it's pretty nice. Have a look at the garden, it looks good. It's not just a really shitty home or whatnot. Of course, nowadays it's gonna be worth way more than $31,000, but it's yeah, it is what it is. It is a fine home. It looks nice. Buffett also is famous for paying only $18 for a haircut, which is, by the way, something that I'm also trying to do, being really inexpensive with these things, just because, I don't give a shit, basically. So therefore, I'm just going to my favorite people, and I'm gonna get a fucking haircut for $10, which is really good, which is really, really, really good. Because what should I be spending my money on instead of $10 for a bargain haircut? Well, I'm actually not spending my money on anything, basically. Really anything. His frugality partly stems from his upbringing. Patterson was born during the Great Depression and grew up poor, wearing hand-me-downs and living in Vancouver's gritty east sides. And by the way, we are now talking about this guy, who is Canada's Warren Buffett, as they say. And he's called Jim Patterson. I didn't know about him before, to be honest. And now, Richard Branson. The idea of having a possession that is there just as pure luxury and is actually paying its bills is something which I would be embarrassed about, he previously told The Guardian. And he's also not very famous for just spending too much on his clothes, which is, by the way, also something that I'm not doing. I'm spending nothing on anything. To Branson, the biggest luxury isn't money. If we are talking about personal luxuries, whatever, and the luxury of being your own boss, the biggest regard is the amount of time one can find for family and friends. And this is indeed something that you can just heavily do by being your own boss and just being just on your own, in terms of being able to just do whatever you're willing to do, kinda. Despite her $4 billion net worth, Judy Faulkner, which, by the way, I've never seen before. I didn't even know that she exists. The founder of Epic Systems also resists the lavish life. I never had any personal desire to be a wealthy billionaire. Living lavishly, she wrote. She reportedly has owned only 2 cars in the past 15 years and has lived in the same Madison, Wisconsin suburb for nearly 3 decades. Which is quite something, but why do you need a bigger home? It's just more work, it is more expensive, it is just pretty unnecessary. Nobody needs it. Of course, it kind of would be nice to live in a fancy home for maybe a week or something, but let's take a vacation. Especially if you're having the money, you can take that fucking vacation and just do that. Kinda. To just also live that really expensive life once in a time. But yeah, Mark Zuckerberg and his just daily outfit of a simple t-shirt, a hoodie, and a pair of jeans. Which, by the way, I can understand. Like, it looks good on him, and like, why not? Like, really, why not? It is a decision less that the person has to make. Jeff Bezos is also known to live modestly. Yes, yeah. And they're talking about cars there and whatnot, but it's like not that interesting though. Is there anything else that I think that's actually quite it. Yeah, there's also Jennifer Lawrence and all the other people. But yeah, the other one, and also the last one, which is the 7 factors of a typical millionaire, which is basically kind of the millionaire next door. It is not the next millionaire next door summary, but it's the millionaire next door summary. But I might just actually have a look at the next millionaire next door summary. But these 7 factors are, I'm gonna show you a little bit closer though. And it is a little bit fucked up that there is just this shitty thing there. Well, yeah, never mind. I'm gonna do it like this. You know what? Gonna do it like this. So the 7 factors of a typical millionaire are the book's author, blah, 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 blah. The first one is they live well below their means. So they are frugal, basically. The second one is they allocate their time, energy, and money efficiently in ways conducive to building wealth. The third one, they believe that financial independence is more important than displaying high social status, which is again through spending money on dumb shit. Not necessarily, but often, Their parents did not provide economic outpatient care. The fifth one is their adult children are economically self-sufficient. The sixth one, they are proficient in targeting market opportunities. And the last one is they chose the right occupation. So apparently, the thing is, as it is said, wait a second, where is it now? I've lost it. The new book was intended to examine, so there's a comparison between the next millionaire next door and the next door millionaire, whatever it was called, or the millionaire next door. So the old one and the new one. The new book was intended to examine data on wealth across multiple studies and over time, looking to see what may have changed and examining consistent themes in how individuals are able to build wealth, Sarah told me in our chat below. And there's a few just interesting things that this person pointed out, so I'm also going to link that down in the description. I'm also actually going to highlight that. Job titles are better indicators of income than wealth. Only 25% of millionaires spend more than $100 for a pair of jeans, which is actually quite a lot of money, isn't it? Nearly 70% of millionaires over the past 3 decades report being raised in an atmosphere of love and harmony. Building financial success often takes parental encouragement. Millionaires consistently cite their spouse as a primary motivation for their success and wealth. 93% are married or remarried. Knowledge about finance is critical to building wealth, but having strategies that rely on discipline often plays an even greater role in savings and spending. The market value of a home is less than 20% of a net worth. That equals less than 5% of net worth, and annual income tax is the equivalent of about 2% of the net worth. And there's also a summary there, just down there. If you're also having a look at the progression bar, you might be able to find it a little bit quicker, or by pressing Command F or Control F. And it is actually daughter and father thing, because he asked, what was the biggest complaint of your dad's original book? Which is quite interesting as well. Quite funny to see there. But I would actually now we are on the isemoney.com site, which is, I've been on it, and we've been going through a lot of millionaire interviews there. You might be able to find them. So what it takes to become wealthy. Like the original, the new book offers advice on what people can learn from millionaires to become wealthy. It lists 6 activities as requirements for those who seek financial success, which include ignoring the myths of wealth, including the confusion between income and net worth and the barriers for creating self-made wealth, recognizing the influence others may have on financial attitudes and behaviors, and learning from those who are equally committed to financial success over and above appearing to be rich, making consistently good consumer decisions starting with the neighborhood, understanding its potential effect on reaching financial goals, assessing strengths and weaknesses related to finances to improve where possible in areas such as frugality and owning responsibility for financial outcomes, and confidence to make decisions based on knowledge, deciding early on a philosophy for work and careers, and not assuming that the traditional view of work, one that seems to dedicate an 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. existence from ages 25 to 67 is the only path, and recognizing that successful investing behaviors can be learned and improved, and that the fruits of effectively investing is saved over time provide security for the more important aspects of one's life. And with that being said, it is, this is probably going to be the end of the episode here. So I wish you the best health, of happiness, and also success. And I want you to remember to just be a good person. 3 other questions that I'm having for you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? These 3 are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, since a lot of people started out, and also companies started out, with solving something that really pissed them off in the first place. Well, yeah, I'm going to see you the next time. I at least hope. I'll see you. And please consider subscribing. I would appreciate that. But I'm going to see you.